Should academic excellence be the only criterion for college admissions? While this debate, mind you, is not a new one and it intensifies, especially during the admission season, but the big question remains. What about students who have excelled in other fields like sports and extracurricular activities? That is what we were debating on Crossfire today. In the studio, on my right, I'm joined by Dilgrace Kaur, Kamala Nehru, a journalism student, and on my left, I'm joined by Ayush. Ayush is an engineering student. Dilgrace, you believe that marks or academic excellence should not be the only criteria. Why do you believe that? You have a minute to make your point.
Exactly, that is what I believe. Like the way we are giving admission to students in colleges in the present scenario, it is solely based on marks,
yes,
right? And marks cannot be taken as the sole criteria of judging someone's capabilities. The criteria should be: do they have the aptitude? Do they have the required knowledge for the chosen field, the course they have selected to pursue in college? Do they have the real talent to go ahead and pursue a career in it? Or are they simply mugging up facts, rote learning their books and retracing them in their exams?
Ayush, what about you? Because if you look at it, granting admissions based on marks at least grants the whole system a certain measure of objectivity. What do you believe? Why do you believe that marks should be the only criteria?
I think a mark should be the only criteria because when we deal with a company or an organization or a group of people, we need a system to run that country, to people, whatever the thing is.
Right.
Now, if we go according to the system, if we get influenced by the systems going on in US, UK or anywhere around the world, tell me how a student studying class 7th, 6th, 10th, 12th can possibly know what he's made for, because they don't exactly know what actually happens. If we are dealing with 70 lakhs people passing out every year in 2015, how can you possibly judge 70 lakhs people according to their interest? First point. Second point, I'm not against this whole thing that we should not judge people according to only their academic performance. I think that system should be there in which they should be given knowledge, information about what's actually happening over there and where they should move. I agree that this academic solution should not be the only thing.
You've made your point. We're running out of time for you, and we'll come back to you, of course.
Okay.
Dilgrace, he's saying that he's not ready to believe, or at least at this point in time, he's not ready to accept the fact that a class 12 student could know based just on his interest, and it'll be very difficult to assess whether a student is interested enough in a course or not. How do you compare between two students who, let's say, want to take admission in English honors or journalism for that matter? How can you assess interest, and how can, based on that, can you grant admission to one student and not to the other one?
A person who has scored 99%, he might have, mugged up facts and just written them. And person scoring 92 might have presented his own opinion in the paper, which the teacher is apparently not looking for. He's looking for what is written in the book.
Let's talk about history perhaps, or English for that matter. And a student who expressed his own opinion probably lost out on those 7 or 8 marks, as a result of which he got 92, while his competitor, his fellow classmate, got perhaps 99 because he mugged up all that there was in the book and wrote it as it is. Okay. And so it in a way is assessing students not in the best manner possible. Do you agree with that?
Not so.
Okay.
Because I'll just help her out with a quote.
Okay.
Don't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. This was said by APJ Abdul Kalam. There's nothing wrong in this. But what if you have around 70 lakh fishes and monkeys all together? How can you filter them out? You need a system in it. Doing what you love is easy.
Right.
But doing what you don't love is challenge. That comes in when you are a hard worker. And that's what the reason why IITians
that's
are
what you believe,
more successful than others.
Marks sort of act as a check.
Yes.
That's what they tell. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
But talking about that, if you were to counter that point, Dilgrace, what would you say? He's saying don't judge a fish by its ability to climb tree, and that's of course a quote by the former president, Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam. But how would you counter that kind of an argument?
What I wish to say about this is that the pursuit of knowledge has turned into a pursuit of numbers. Right.
Which is not the purpose of education.
Exactly. We wish the whole purpose of education, the schools, colleges, is to enrich students' minds with thoughts, to make them better citizens, to make them better individuals and succeed in life, to create, to develop the world more, right? To take the legacy forward. Not by, but how can we say that a person mugging a books is working hard?
I agree to the points that he shared, but the points that she said was in general. Today we are talking about admissions in colleges, and we are talking about those 70 lakh students who pass out every year from class 12th and they are looking for colleges. Now tell me one simple thing, that if you think that, okay, we need to filter out students according to their interest, apart from this system, can you suggest any?
Talking in respect to DU, okay, last year there was a lot of hustle over the FYUP, right? So if we are, considering that system, we are trying to adopt that system, why aren't we looking at the way they are procuring their students? So they are assessing an individual's mindset, right, to what exactly he has learned in his school years.
So a lot of colleges do offer opportunities in terms of interviews. So it doesn't apply to each and every college and all the universities in the country, but true, to a very great extent when it comes to most of the colleges and schools and universities, not schools, universities and colleges, yes, that is the criteria. Ayush, how do you counter that though? That's a very valid point.
If you are discussing about the system that exists abroad, that is pointless because of the number of students that we are dealing with, because of the culture we live in. We need a system to judge students on the basis of marks, and then we have these kind of initiatives.
And of course, then there is this whole problem of fewer seats in terms of the proportion keeps falling. Concluding remarks, Dilrace, what do you believe the solution? What do you sort of see as a possible solution for this problem?
I would say that for the betterment of our country, for a better future, for better individuals coming out of schools and colleges, we need to reconsider our procedure of taking in students in colleges, and we need to do it as soon as we can, because these cutoffs are becoming so unrealistic and they are boosting at an unbelievable rate. 100.75 is unbelievable.
So, Ayush, your concluding remarks.
It's easy to do what you love, but it's tougher to do what you don't love. So work hard over there, you'll get a decent college, and don't worry, if you love doing something, then you're not going anywhere.
Like I said while opening the debate, this debate is not a recent one, and each time it instigates a very strong kind of opinions from both sides. So there is no end to it. On that note, we will wrap up today's show. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.
Developing reading habits in young children can take a lot of time and effort. How should a parent go about it? I have with me Veena Raizada, who's the Director Academics for Next Education. Ma'am, thank you so much for talking to us. And what are some of the things that a parent can do at home to ensure the child's reading? Like, for example, sit together, have a family time where the entire family is sort of reading and things like that.
That's something very simple that we do is weave a story, okay? You start with a sentence and whether you read it or you make it. So later on we'll just draw and make it. Okay, I say a sentence, the next sentence you have to say, it ends up in something, doing something. So let's say you start with, I was going somewhere. Where were you going? I was going to my auntie's place. And whom did you meet? That's how the conversation starts. So how do you actually make the people talk and connect to each other? So when you're sitting on a dining table, so you can talk about the vegetables, talk about the fruits, talk about how do fruits talk to each other?
Okay.
So this is an orange. You open it up. Every part is separate, but outside it is all one. But look at this muskmelon. All parts separate, but when I see it inside, it's all one. So look at the difference. Still, there is a story. That's a teamwork that goes on like that. So how do you build up? So parent has to be really creative, thought process, thinking about that. How can I connect to the child, right? So how do you recite certain words in rhyming words with whatever is put on dining table and make them also eat, enjoy, and then still work on reading habits. So how do you read newspaper with the child? What is that portion of yes, because Still children like to see the newspaper. Sports is, I think, one area where everyone wants to see what is going on in IPL, what is going on in cricket. So everyone wants to see that. There is a page of Bollywood which everyone wants to see who is a celebrity on page 3. So children are interested whether you say it or not, but they are interested. So how do you develop the child from reading those alphabets, the newspaper, and then putting them together as a sentence, then going to specific columns and then talking about it. And then you bring into magazines that you have at home, where parenting magazine, there are quite a few books which are parent related, child related, and then you can read it out to them, make them look at it. That's how it works it out.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Great words for them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.